Hey everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe. So the latest Prime is here, which is Hydroid Prime and his accompanying weapons. Today we're going to be looking at the melee weapon that came with Hydroid Prime, and that is the Nami Skyla Prime. Despite the weapon having both a single sword and a dagger as part of it, the Nami Skyla is another dual sword weapon, making it the second Prime dual sword we have after the dual Kamaz Prime. Building it is a fairly involved process since you need 5 pieces, the blueprint, 2 handles and 2 blades. So it can be a little tricky to get your hands on. But once you do have all the parts and have built it, you get a dual sword weapon rocking 60 damage per hit. The majority comes in the form of slash, and then a little bit of both puncture and impact. From there though, the supporting stats show exactly where it's going to be good to mod the weapon. 20% critical chance means that a Blood Rush body count build is going to work well. Although the below average 150% critical damage multiplier isn't really ideal, but it can be workable. Then you take that and combine it with the fantastic 30% status chance that you've got. You can have both a crit and a status build on here, really allowing you to take advantage of condition overload, especially when you have a 1.33 attack speed as well. Really allows you to stack those procs quickly and easily, and it can boost your damage very quickly. Couple downsides to the weapon though, that crit damage multiplier I talked about earlier is really less than ideal. The amount of parts you'll need to build it is going to mean the grind could in theory be fairly painful, especially since you need 2 of the rare parts, and we all know how trolly the rare parts can be. Plus the range on the weapon is also really rather low, so it is possible to swing at a target and miss it entirely because of that range. It makes it difficult to put all of the weapon's damage out onto a target, and it does hurt its performance. In terms of stances, to be honest, I hate both of the dual sword stances. I think the animations are strange. There's barely any guaranteed procs, barely any damage multipliers, AoE hits, or if there are any of those, like on some of the combos for Swirling Tiger, they're either on holdy or pause combos that honestly after the first few minutes of a mission you lose track of where in the combo you are, and either revert back to spamming E or revert back to holding right click and doing those combos instead. I put Crossing Snakes on the weapon purely for the extra mod capacity, however it's personal preference which you want to go with. Even though honestly I'm not doing it in the footage in the background purely for entertaining footage purposes, more often than not I don't even bother with the stance and just use quick melee instead, since I prefer that to the stances you can put on the weapon. The build I went for though is pretty much a standard build for crit status weapons these days. Stance can be either depending on your preference, which is amazing since this is actually a zero former build. The 2V polarities on here really make it very easy to build. We've got Prime Pressure Point, Blood Rush and Drifting Contact for crit chance and combo timer, Condition Overload for more damage on status procs, 2 dual stats to combine with the increased status from Drifting Contact for decent status chance, and obviously elemental damage, Berserker for attack speed on crit, and then the final mod I went with Organ Shatter for crit damage. Now I messed around with a couple of other mods in this final slot, Life Strike for high health steal, Weeping Winds for scaling status chance, another dual stat, and then obviously the crit damage mod as well. Personally, I found the crit damage mod to be the most effective here because it pushes up the crit damage, which then gets multiplied by condition overload. And I felt that gave a bit better performance than the other alternatives, at least from my testing. Maybe I'm missing something. I kind of found Weeping Winds to be a bit of a waste, because proccing nearly 80% of the time anyway, especially with the fast attack speed, you know, that extra bit of status chance from Weeping Winds really just gets kind of lost. Plus, at lower levels, needing those status procs is less important, so the crit kind of works out to be a bit more reliable. But the difference between Weeping and the crit just isn't really that much, so you can do pretty much anything you want to do with that final slot. I even messed around with Relentless Combination, which was pretty amusing. It wasn't as effective as Weeping Wounds or Organ Shatter, but it was kind of fun. So what do I think of the Nami Skyla Prime? Well, honestly, I like them quite a bit. They look incredible. I love that sword and dagger thing it's got going on. The design of them looks amazing. Seriously, good job to whoever designed these. They perform pretty nicely as well. They're kind of weird, unlike a lot of melee weapons that shred high level enemies fairly quickly, which you see yourself taking out chunks of their health or you see big numbers. You just don't get that with the Nami Skyla. It kind of creeps up on you with the damage output, and before you know it, the thing you're attacking just dies. It's pretty amusing though. I called the stats of the Nami Skyla Prime on stream actually a few weeks ago. I said it was going to be not only crit but status as well. I definitely didn't see the reduced crit damage multiplier coming though, that's for sure. It meant I had to spend quite a while testing mods to try and work out what was the most effective, crit damage or something else. I like weapons that challenge the way I mod things and make me think about what I want to do. The real meta these days, as you probably have guessed, is crit combined with condition overload. Mostly because of how disgustingly good condition overload is. It's really been a game changer for status weapons. However, it did have the effect of making crit with status even stronger than it was before. This combination has taken melee weapons to the next level, and honestly it's been kind of refreshing. The one thing I am sad about is it didn't come with a new stance. I think I would enjoy this weapon, the Nami Skyla Prime, with way more with a new stance. I do like the weapons, don't get me wrong, but the stances spoil them for me, sadly. So while they are good, I'm unlikely to be using them that often. I've moved away from using, honestly, any of the dual swords because of that. But there's a new stance coming at some point we do know about. I'll probably go back and revisit them again then. But I do recommend getting these weapons, playing around with them, especially if you like your dual swords. Plus, who could say no to a weapon that looks as good as these? So I hope you'll enjoy my look at the Nami Skyla Prime. I'm going to have one with the Ballistica Prime coming in the next day or so. But for now, many thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.